What's up everyone, John from ARTV. It's finally time for a review of the Carter 5, the long-awaited album by rapper Lil Wayne. It's been delayed since pretty much 2014. There was a long legal battle with his former record label Cash Money, the falling out with Birdman, and then them making up after Birdman apologized. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes drama, but obviously I'm here to review Wayne's 12th studio album today. Despite a tumultuous past few years, Lil Wayne kept finding ways to roll out new music, little samples of maybe what was to come on his album, or else just things to tide over fans. There was the Free Weezy album on Tidal, and obviously the Carter 5 was originally supposed to be released in 2014, 3 years after the release of the Carter 4, which was an immensely successful album, one that I did review on my channel, but embarrassingly so, I should have never been covering Lil Wayne at that point in my reviewing career. I go way back with my love for Wayne. It dates back to probably 2006, 2007 when I first heard the song Fireman, that's off the Carter 2, and I went back, checked out more of his stuff, and slowly got more and more into hip-hop and rap in general. And I think that a lot of people are probably thinking you're gonna shit all over this project. I tweeted out that it's a very long album, it's a long project. Does it keep your attention? Are there enough tracks to really get the job done? And I honestly think that there are, even though there are some flaws here, some gaps, I suppose, in its consistency. I think that overall, the wait for the Carter 5 was justified and worth it. Not that it was Wayne's fault really for the wait, but still. The majority of the recording sessions for the Carter 5 took place during 2014, so does this record sound dated? Well, I would say surprisingly not that much. There's definitely moments where I feel like there could have been some tweaks or some adjustments just to make it flow a little bit better, but overall, I have to say that I like the fact that it's not so overtly trap influenced. There's definitely plenty of rolling hi-hats, a crunch and a punch in that department, and that's not a bad thing. I don't hate trap outright, I just hate what a lot of people do with the trap genre. I think the instrumentals are actually pretty well produced here, often glossy, adding in pianos, a few guitars in the background, and there's just a foreboding sense to much of this record. I think a lot of it definitely gets more personal, and Wayne's flows here can range from manic, I would say, to expressive in that department, to just sad and melancholic, and I think that the Carter 5 kind of succeeds because of that. Wayne himself is obviously the star of the show. That's a positive in and of itself. He comes in, kind of reclaims his throne in a sense, not to say that he is the king of rap or start that debate in the comment section right now. I just mean it's good to have Lil Wayne back. Whether you love him or you hate him, you cannot deny his influence on hip-hop and rap, especially over the past 15 years. For the most part, I think the features are a nice addition and often compliment Wayne and what he's doing on these tracks. I think Nicki Minaj's singing on Dark Side of the Moon was pretty nice, and even though that's a kind of weird song that we'll get more into in a minute when we break down the track listing, still, overall, the vocals, at least from Minaj, that was a nice twist that I really didn't see coming. We have a posthumous appearance from XXXTENTACION that I'm sure many fans are going to be either raving about, buzzing about, or debating about, but overall, on Don't Cry, I do think it's kind of a nice touch to the emotional side of the song. We of course get an appearance from Snoop Dogg on Dope Boys, which I will call that song, and I think it's a nice appearance there. Actually, Snoop just sounds very smooth, very casual, kind of reflective as he comes in and does his thing on the track. Again, the main thing working against the Carter 5 is its runtime. It's an hour and a half long, and that's about a standard movie length. And if you think about that realistically, how many of us really have time to sit down and listen to an album in full, at least, that's not super engaging, has some filler songs, maybe it's something that you'll throw on in the background. I really do feel like the first half of the album really gets going and the momentum is there for the most part, but it drags in its second half as the ideas start to get rehashed, and I start to feel these themes that are just all too familiar with Wayne and don't stand out between him or his contemporaries. It is an overly long album, and not that the Carter series hasn't gotten long in the past. The Carter 3 is one of my favorite rap albums of all time. The difference there is that the quality was there all throughout. This one, I feel like, lags a bit in places. There's some amazing songs on the Carter 5, and nothing can take that away from it. I think that Wayne definitely stepped up his game for some of the appearances, like the much buzzed about already Mona Lisa featuring Kendrick Lamar. A fantastic feature there where both just go off and they fire down this story about a woman who was supposedly set up her boyfriend to be robbed, and as the story plays out and its violent graphic descriptions, I think that Wayne and Kendrick are both at their best, and even though this was recorded about 4 years ago, it sounds fresh and new and invigorating, and it's one of the best rap songs of 2018. Really though, the first 14 songs on this album, with a few misfires and exceptions in there, a few that I would pull out, like What About Me, which I feel really needed the help of Drake, and Drake really doesn't get a feature on this album outside of a brief line saying, "Where ya at, Wayne?" on Hittas. I feel like this in particular could have used his touch, and a few others like Dark Side of the Moon featuring Nicki Minaj, just a weird post-apocalyptic thing, and I feel like the descriptions and the use of like words like quasars is just weird. It's one of those songs where I get the sentiment, it's lovers that care about each other even in this post-apocalyptic world, but still, it's just out there, man. It definitely lives on the moon, and I believe Wayne at this point when he says he's a Martian. Other than those few sidesteps that really don't pan out that well, I feel like this album rarely loses its footing through those first 14. Open Letter gets very personal and really doesn't have a chorus at all. It just keeps flowing for verse after verse, and Wayne keeps adding on about his personal life, the struggle of fame, things that he doesn't like about himself and about the fame, about paparazzi. It just keeps adding layers, and I love the beat on this one as well. The production is immaculate. That and Famous, which comes directly after it featuring his daughter, that one is so catchy, so smooth. Those back to back is perfection. A viral challenge has already started to soar around the song Uproar, which samples a 2001 track, and it's remade by Swizz Beatz, the producer, and I love this song. Honestly, it has so much energy and enigma and things that I just like about Wayne and his personality popping up all over this song. It'd be crazy for a Wayne fan to just look at that and say, you know what, that's not for me, no thank you, because I feel like this is Wayne at his most charming. He has other moments like that, like the song before it, Dedicate, and even the song Hittas, which I briefly talked about, that one line from Drake. I wish he had been more involved in the project, but still, it's the Carter 5, and on Hittas, Lil Wayne is firing on all cylinders, being very smart with his lyrical content and punches. The slow dive and kind of ascension here and there, the valley effect starts after Hittas though, on Took His Time. It's a song that I rarely feel is very motivating, even though it is deeply personal. There's so many other personal songs on this album that unlock things in a much better way. Whether that be the opening track, I Love You Dwayne by his mother, or even the closing moment, Let It All Work Out, which is hands down probably the best song here along with Mona Lisa. This song can definitely make you tear up thinking about the fact that Lil Wayne literally tried to kill himself as a 12-year-old because his mom said he couldn't rap anymore. And even though his life was not ended that day, it could have been, and he used that to really channel it into his future career, what was to come, and look at him now. He's one of the most successful people on the planet. The sample is awesome, and I really feel like this track just has so many positive vibes despite the dark energy that kind of underlies it. It's something that I feel will probably help a lot of people, especially in a dark place. A fantastic tune. Anyways, outside of a few standout tracks, I really do feel like this album lags in its last quarter. Songs like Mess are okay, sure, but on each side of that, you've got like the gospel tinge, like Wayne trying to be Chance the Rapper on Dope New Gospel, which I just don't care a thing about, or Demon, which I really find aggravating, both of those tracks to be quite honest. Perfect Stranger's not doing much for me either, and even Used To, even though I like his aggression there and the fact that he's going off and talking about his vengeance and it has more of an in-your-face confrontational type feel, it still doesn't have the snap of some of the other tracks like Mona Lisa. I think I pretty much said everything I want to say about the Carter 5, everything I can say. Lil Wayne, I am glad you are back, and this project definitely grew on me the more I listened to it. It's one of those albums where I feel like a lot of the tracks, just because there's so many, 23, it can be overwhelming at first, so let a lot of them sink in, and I really feel like I'll probably end up making a playlist out of the songs from the album that I like the most. I'll chop them up, save those, and listen to them more in the future. That's what I've done with some of the past Carter releases and rap albums in general. general that I find to be too overly long. Anyways, for me personally, I'm going to rate this a light 3.5 out of 5. What do you guys think though? Let me know in the comments section down below. Don't forget to drop a like on the video while you're here, and subscribe if you're new in town. If you want to see another Lil Wayne review, then tap this card right here, or tap here for another recent rap review I did on the channel. If you're able to, please support me on Patreon at the top link in the description down below. It helps videos like this keep coming on both of my channels. All of my socials can be found linked in the description, and I'll see you soon for more right here on ARTV.